Police have made 13 arrests and returned 45 trolleys to their respective stores following a 3-day operation in Rotorua. From January 21st to the 23rd, they executed Operation Trolley. Police say while being homeless is not a crime in itself, they have received complaints in regard to homeless people in possession of trolleys, intimidating members of the public and workers as they walk through the CBD. Police also issued 19 trespass notices, trespassing individuals in possession of a trolley from respective stores. In total, 45 trolleys were returned to their businesses at the end of the 3-day op. And while you might think this isn't something that would attract too much attention, it's turned into a little bit of a political war of words. Wairiki MP Rawiri Waititi is calling it a direct attack by the government on impoverished people. Rotorua MP Todd McClay said Waititi's comments were out of touch with how locals were feeling, and Police Minister Mark Mitchell said the police were enforcing the law. Mayor Tania Tapsell says ratepayers shouldn't have to foot the bill for cleaning up after the homeless, and she joins me now. Mayor, good afternoon.
Kia ora, Leah. Pleasure to join you.
Lovely to talk to you, Tania. Before we get into this, now, can you fill us in? There's been a major power outage, I understand.
Yes, I am catching my breath after running around the council building trying to find out what everybody knows and let our community be informed. We are currently experiencing a major power cut. What I've been able to gather is this is affecting 35 suburbs. Obviously, a key concern is we've got our schools back. Everyone's about to do pickups, and our traffic lights, I've been also notified some aren't working. So if you are tuning in from Rotorua, please be patient and cautious out on the roads. Nice.
Well said. Yeah, that's not good timing. Well, it's never good timing to lose power, but around school runs, definitely. Tania, firstly, how bad is the homeless situation in your city?
Look, it has been very bad in the past. We had 2 years of misery of emergency housing motels, but I am very pleased to say, like the many visitors that have come to see us recently, we are certainly back on track and back in business, and we've managed to reduce the motels collectively by 80%. So unfortunately, as you've heard, we have still had some issues with homeless. And in this case, I tell you what, I had a great day today because I didn't see a single trolley. This has been quite an issue that's just blowing up, not only in the media, but also in our community.
Yeah, so, 45 trolleys were returned to businesses at the end of this operation. Are they mostly, I'm gathering they're from supermarkets? Where are they coming? They're supermarket trolleys, or where?
It's supermarkets, we have multiple, Pack and Save, now Woolworths, previously Countdown, but also major retailers like the Warehouse, Kmart. And I tell you what, these things aren't cheap. So if you've got something that's, valued a couple $100, and someone's picking it up, taking it for a joyride and then dumping it elsewhere, you wouldn't be too happy either. So it has been very costly for businesses. And I tell you what, when council was picking them up, it cost us about $5,000 a month. Yeah. So I am grateful to the police for sorting this out.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I saw a figure of around $5,000 a month to collect trolleys, and that's quite eye-watering. Police have said, Tania, that some of the retailers felt intimidated by some homeless. Is there anything to be done to make them and the public feel safer?
Look, that is correct, and I have received complaints from business owners where people were sleeping in doorways and had the trolleys blocking it for when people wanted to go to work in the morning. Now, bear in mind, Rotorua is a pretty small district. Our inner city is quite small, so you only need a couple of these situations for it to feel like a big issue, but I want to acknowledge that there are issues in much bigger towns that are of greater impact, but for us here in Rotorua, unfortunately, some of these homeless who were using these trolleys inappropriately as their own property were being intimidating, and some that were arrested in this recent operation by police were already known for, also arrested for violent offences, assault, breaching bail conditions, trespass. So, I know there has been criticism from various political parties or others about is this the police overstepping? Absolutely not. We are grateful that they are doing this job to return property and actually make sure that those who commit crime, including theft, are held to account for it as well.
I'm glad you said that, Tani, because I was going to ask you what you made of, especially Rawiri Waititi saying it was the government coming down on the impoverished, and you've just said no, it's the police doing their job, and that's how you see it.
Absolutely. And, any behaviour that's intimidating needs to be dealt with, because at the end of the day, we are a great place to live. We're an excellent place to visit. That's why we're one of the top tourism destinations, and we're going to take a no-tolerance approach to this. So, I had someone tell me recently in our community, geez, well, if the police are dealing with trolleys, it must mean they've already fixed all the other problems. So, I want to acknowledge that we've finally made our way down reducing the motels, reducing the homeless problem, and we're down to the last little nitty-gritty things like trolleys, but we're certainly fixing up the place here in Rotorua.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Tani, because I did want to quickly get to that. And I was just looking at some numbers. In December 2021, there were 62 motels and hotels operating as emergency housing in Rotorua. My gosh. But the end is underway. Can you tell us what is actually happening? Are there 7 remaining?
Yes, so there are contracted emergency housing motels. So these are the ones that government has contracts with, so that if people do find themselves in need of housing, there's somewhere for them to go, and that has been important. But it's also important that that was a temporary solution while homes are being built, while we get through COVID and the lockdowns, where many people did find themselves unemployed here in our tourism spot in Rotorua. And the reality is we are going to finish this by the end of this year. So halfway through this year, 4 motels will close, and by the end of the year, the remaining 3. So I do want to acknowledge that this government did commit to ending it. They put in a plan, and we are feeling very confident that we're going to be able to deliver this all together as a community here in Rotorua.
That's fantastic. So halfway through, half will shut, and then at the end of the year, was it the last, did you say the last 3? 2?
Yes, last 3.
Last 3.
The last 3. But the key here is not only are they just closing, but all the motels need to stop referrals of people coming in 6 months prior. So, I know that there are some people concerned that where people are going to go, just going to close up shop and they'll end up on the street. No, these people have had very good support to be able to be transitioned into a home. Kāinga Ora has been building a lot of homes. Not all locals are stoked about that, depending where they are and how many are getting built. But you know what? Many of these people are families. They are workers. And if you've heard the bad stories, it's the same classic situation of a few ruining it for the majority of people that just want to get their lives back.